got your hat. So this weekend we get another big boxing event in terms of name value, at least, not in terms of boxing competition, and that's Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. And because there's gonna be so many eyes on this event, high-profile celebrities are gonna watch it. You're probably gonna watch it. I'm probably gonna watch it. So let's break it down for the casual viewer that don't understand what exactly is all the big fuss between Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. All right. So before we get into the main event, let's touch on the fight card quickly, because I think one of the good things, one of the benefactors is actually the undercard, because what it is exposure. You're getting exposure. A lot of people that wouldn't be watching boxing otherwise, and I've said this before in other videos. So on the undercard, we get Giancarlo Torres, a new signed fighter to the Mayweather Promotions Club, fighting Zach Khan. Giancarlo Torres is a fighter out of Puerto Rico, an undefeated fighter. He's 18-0, 14 of those coming by way of knockout. He is most famously known for the leaked sparring footage that he had with Gervonta Davis about a year ago, where we see Gervonta Davis, at the time a super featherweight 130 pounder, holding his own against a much bigger, 2 divisions bigger Giancarlo Torres. These two were going toe-to-toe, exchanging blows, and yes, Gervonta got the best of it, which is why I say leaked footage. Leaked footage only comes from the camp of the fighter winning the sparring, ironically, right? And while that was the point of the footage was Gervonta beating a guy up in sparring, I personally, what I took away from it was that, hey, this guy's holding his own. This is a young guy, a young and inexperienced guy holding his own against Gervonta Davis at the Mayweather Club, which we all know is Gervonta's home and his hostile territory. Obviously, he did good enough to get himself signed by Mayweather Promotions, even though he was brought in just as a sparring partner for Gervonta. He got signed. He's still undefeated, and he gets a chance to showcase his skills and himself on the undercard of Floyd versus Logan Paul. Then we go into the special exhibitions as written on ESPN when I looked at the schedule. Special exhibition where we get Chad Johnson, aka Chad Ochocinco, fighting Brian Maxwell. And to be honest, I couldn't find much footage of training or fighting on any of these guys. I didn't get to see much, but what I did find, I couldn't take away much of anything from the footage that I've seen. I'm saying both of these guys are not natural boxers. That's what I take away from it. That these guys, there's a reason it's called a special exhibition. Chad Ochocinco is a retired wide receiver from the NFL, and then we get Brian Maxwell, who's a bare knuckle fighter, much different than boxing. But that being said, from what I see, Chad is really not good, and he's not a fighter by nature. While his advantage is that he's a freak of nature. He was granted more athletic, God-given traits than Brian Maxwell. And everything I see in footage doesn't look like he's going to use it. He wants to be a boxer. He wants to be more of an elusive boxing style. I don't know why. I don't recommend that for any newbie, especially if they have to perform in a ring. Being a boxer, or stylistically a pugilist, right? Like the Floyd Mayweathers, the Pernell Whitakers, boxers, right? Traditional boxers. It's a much harder style to pull off or to be very good at than to just be a fighter or a brawler or a come forward pressure fighter. Those things are much easier. Why you think there's much less boxers that are able to pull off boxing at the highest level? Why you think gold medals in the Olympics, the highest prestige you can get at the amateurs, goes to the best boxers? Why Chad Johnson wants to choose that style? Probably because he thinks it looks good and he thinks he could pull it off. I don't think so. I think Brian Maxwell is at least a fighter. He understands. He's been in multiple bare knuckle fights and multiple different type of fights. I've seen him in the cage. He has experienced a similar environment to what he will be experiencing on Saturday when he gets in the ring with Ochocinco. Not only that, he's younger, and I think Ochocinco's going to get beat up, just like they say in I Am Athlete. His booty going to be in the air. True, no, he is going to have his booty in the air. I think he gets stopped. That's my prediction for that fight. It's going to be fun while it lasts. Good luck to Chad. Good luck to Brian. Look, when it comes to these fights, and these guys are not experienced, these are very dangerous fights. I think it's very dangerous putting 2 inexperienced fighters in the ring, especially in such a dangerous sport as boxing. As a person who has done boxing training, very little, even when you go to boxing rings, the first time you spar in most boxing gyms, the first time you get to taste what it's like to punch and get punched back is usually against a trainer. The trainers are experienced enough, safely allow you to practice what you've been learning without you getting hurt or allowing you to hurt them. I wish them nothing but a safe fight, and let it be fun. Let it be what it is, which is an exhibition fight. And like I said, my prediction, Brian Maxwell wins pretty easily. And now let's get to the actual boxing. And we have Jarrett Hurd and Luis Arias fighting at 154 pounds. Two guys who recently experienced such a rocky point in their career. The favorite here, the overwhelming favorite here is Jarrett Hurd, and he should be. He has won loss against a very good fighter who fought him perfectly. Julian Williams beat him in a perfect fight. He fought as good as he can be, and he pulled off a win. With a win over Luis Arias, being that the division is so dry right now, there's really three guys in the division at the top. It's Giancarlo, it's Castaño, and it's Erickson Lubin. Those are the three guys. So if Jarrett Hurd redeems himself, beats Arias decisively, he's back in the mix. That being said, the same thing happens in reverse. If he loses to Luis Arias, he is completely out the mix. He's out of the mix in terms of the top elite guys in the division, at least contending for a championship belt. Luis Arias is a guy that, while everyone knows, and maybe even he knows, that he is not at the elite level. He's just not that dude at the division. He won't be in the mix of that, guys. He gives everybody a tough fight. He's a tough out, man. Even the elite guys, when they fight Luis Arias, they know they're in a fight. They come out knowing they're in the fight. And you remember Luis Arias, he's not an easy fighter to win against. He has a lot of will, a lot of toughness. While he may not have a lot of natural talent or athletic ability, a lot of will and a lot of toughness. And he believes in himself. And he wants all the smoke. That's just the way he goes about it in his press conferences, his attitude, and the way he fights. So it's going to be a fun fight because both guys, I think, don't know how to move back. They're both come forward fighters. That being said, let's move on now to the main event. We got Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. And Logan Paul is the lesser Paul. Yeah. He is not Jake Paul. He is not the boxer Jake Paul is. In fact, I actually watched his fight with KSI again, just to make sure I got a good understanding of what he is. And I understand he is not that dude anymore. He's very young. He's been training ever since then. I'm sure he's progressed and gotten better and sharpened his skill in the last 3 years. And I think Floyd, the same thing could go for Floyd. Floyd, I'm sure, has regressed and declined over the last 3 years since we last saw him fight against McGregor. And even at then, the time when he fought McGregor, he was already in decline. He wasn't nowhere near prime Floyd that we saw even back when he fought Pacquiao Alberto. You can see he already started his athletic and physical tools started to deteriorate, and his skills just, maybe more rust than anything being out the ring, were not as sharp. I expect Floyd to continue on a downward trajectory. But there's 3 years of progression to a novice and 3 years of regression for one of the greatest boxers, if not the greatest boxer of our generation, the greatest defensive boxer of all time, and one of the greatest boxers of all time. Does that close the gap enough? No, it doesn't. Logan Paul will also have a size advantage, a pretty big size advantage. I think Logan Paul will probably walk into the ring as a heavyweight, but I don't see that as much as an advantage. I think he'd probably be carrying a little too much weight, a little bit too much muscle. Boxers don't look like Logan Paul. He's overly muscular, unless you're Anthony Joshua or maybe Anthony Yard. Boxers don't look like that, and it's for a reason. Those body types don't do well in boxing because of the amount of cardio, the amount of stamina it takes to last in a long, grueling fight. So while most people see that as an advantage, I don't see it as much as an advantage at all. Logan Paul will have an extremely tough time with Floyd. And of course, like if I'm telling you, YouTubers fighting one of the greatest boxers that's ever been in a ring, the greatest boxer of our generation, and on top of that, he is not fighting an offensive fighter. And like, oh well, at least he's not fighting a knockout artist, blah blah. It's worse. What Floyd is going to do to him is worse. Look, what Floyd's going to do is that there's going to be a tidal wave that hits Logan Paul. It's going to be a tidal wave of exhaustion, a tidal wave of frustration, and then an accumulation of damage. Does he have knockout power? Can he really? He's a small guy, especially in comparison to Logan Paul, and he's not been a knockout artist in his career. But trust me, Floyd can hurt you. He is a professional boxer, and he can hurt you. I promise you that. Take this thought experiment. We've all have a little cousin, or maybe a little brother, or a little cousin, a little sister, a person much smaller than we are. Hit us by surprise, maybe like on the arm or something, and you don't expect it. And tell me if that shit don't hurt, because that shit hurts. And that's what Floyd's going to be doing to him over and over again. And Logan will be missing over and over again. The exhaustion will gain on him. The frustration will gain on him, because those exhaustion and frustration are two things that Floyd has implemented and imposed on every opponent, including all the professional boxers that he fought, including a line of Hall of Fame boxers. I mean, Floyd, you need 3 hands to count the amount of, not champions, Hall of Famers that he has beaten, who has claimed on his belt. And you think a YouTuber is going to come and beat Floyd? This is why the odds are at what they are. Currently on OddsShark, you have to bet $1,400 that Floyd is going to win just to get an extra 100. And while that sounds crazy, it might be the safest bet you're going to find all year. Now let's get to my prediction. I'm not even going to break it down anymore. Look, if Logan has a chance to if he has any chance, it'll probably be in the first 2 rounds while Floyd is reading him and adjusting to him and downloading the data. And once he downloads the data, which is one of Floyd's best skills, once he downloads the data, he figures you out. Floyd has one of the deepest Rolodexes of what he's seen in terms of from all the years in the amateur, all the years sparring, all the years boxing. This guy has seen it all. There's nothing that Logan Paul is going to bring into the ring that Floyd Mayweather hasn't seen. We've even seen footage of Floyd Mayweather spar boxing heavyweights. He's going to walk him down like he did with Conor too. Floyd is not going to run around and dodge and do all this games. Floyd is not scared of Logan's power, nor should he be scared of Logan's power. He's fought much bigger punchers. And yes, I know he's fought no one as big as Logan Paul, right? He's going to step in there with potentially a heavyweight fighter in the ring. Heavyweight Logan Paul does not hit harder than Pacquiao, does not hit harder than Maidana, does not hit harder than Miguel Cotto, he does not hit harder than, let's say, a Zab Judah. He just does not. It is what it is. Floyd's going to win. I think he's going to walk him down. I think he downloads him for about a round or 2, walks him down, makes him miss, exhaustion, takes the power, shows him that his power ain't shit, and then he starts beating him. I don't think that Logan Paul sees the 6th round unless Floyd wants him to. That's just it. Is whenever Floyd decides to. And I think it's about the 6th round. I think between rounds 4 and 5, the onslaught, the whooping, the damage, the exhaustion, the fatigue, the frustration will all have come together and cause this huge shadow monster over Logan Paul. And more pressure from Floyd is going to come, as we saw what he did with Conor. He's going to put more pressure, and that monster keeps getting bigger because it's on your back, and you're tired, and you're getting hit harder. You're getting hit more. You're moving back now. All these things happen in the ring, and Floyd is a master at implementing those things and making you feel suffocated and frustrated and flustered. If Logan Paul shows any sign of life, any resemblance of success, if he lands a good punch on Floyd, just one, he has shown more in his fight with Floyd about his boxing ability than Jake Paul in his 4 fights that include a YouTuber, an NBA star, and 2 wrestling-based MMA fighters. Guys, gals, listen to me. I need you to like, I need you to subscribe, and I need you to share, because it helps out the channel and it helps out your boy. You want to help out your boy, don't you? Another thing, I'm not ESPN, I'm not Fox Sports 1, I'm at your fingertips, man. Put in the comments below if you like something, you dislike something, am I forgetting something, what's your take on the subject, and I may feature you on the show, and of course I'm going to give you a shout out, boy. Come on now. Tune in next time.